So here's a look at the stitch we're going to be working on today. Now this is the front part of the stitch, and here's the back side. This stitch is crocheted in multiples of 12 plus 7. So for your square, you're going to need a total of 31 stitches. And then we're going to work a foundation row, 29 rows, and then your bind off. This is a 2-row repeat stitch. So we're going to begin from a foundation row. And the first thing we're going to do is always skip the first vertical stitch. You already have it on your hook. So beginning on this second vertical stitch, we're just going to knit stitch 1. For the next 3 stitches, we're going to Tunisian simple stitch 3 together. So you're going to insert your hook behind the top leg of the 3 stitches. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. We're going to knit stitch in each of the next 3 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3. And we're going to Tunisian simple stitch 3 together in the next group of 3 stitches. Knit stitch in the next 3 stitches. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Tunisian simple stitch in the next 3 stitches. So we're going to stitch these 3 together. You're going to reach the last vertical stitch of the row and then the final stitch. So knit stitch in the last stitch of the row. And then right here in this final stitch, we're just going to cast on. And that is row 1. The return pass for row 1 is different. So what we're going to do is you're going to yarn over, pull through 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2. This is going to bring you to this little space right here where you've got this gap between the stitching. You're going to chain 1 and then yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. For these 2 knit stitches, we're just going to yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2, and we're back to this little triple stitch right here. So chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we get to this last one. So chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2. And that's row 1. Row 2, we're going to begin with a knit stitch. Then you're going to cast on using this chain right here. So cast on 1, knit stitch in the vertical stitch, cast on 1 using the chain, and then we're going to knit stitch in each of these 3 knit stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then we just repeat. So cast on using the chain, and then knit stitch, and then cast on using the chain, knit stitch 3. So we've got 1, 2, 3, cast on using the chain space, knit stitch, cast on using the chain space, knit stitch, and then cast on into the final stitch of the row. For row number 2, you're going to use a regular return pass. So that begins with yarn over, pull through 1, and then for the rest of these loops, it's just yarn over, pull through 2, until you are left with just the 1 loop on your hook. Alright, so you're going to repeat rows 1 and 2 until you have a total of 29 rows, and you're going to end in a row 1 repeat. So your fabric is going to look like this with the open stitching. This is where you're going to work your bind off. So for the bind off, we're going to cast on a knit stitch. Oh, there we go. Once you have 2 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over and pull through 2. In these open spaces, you're going to single crochet into the chain. And then you're going to cast on a knit stitch in the vertical stitch. And you're going to close this as a single crochet. So yarn over and pull through 2. In this next chain space, you're also going to single crochet. And I'm crocheting in the chain. So not into the chain space, but in the chain itself. The next 3 stitches we're going to cast on as a knit stitch, and then you're going to close as a single crochet. So knit stitch, single crochet, knit stitch, and single crochet. And you're just going to repeat this throughout the rest of the row to create your bind off row. Now the bind off row, depending on how loose or tight a tension you use, it might end up a little bit wavy, but for this particular square we're going to be blocking it and pulling it a little bit more, so we need that extra space in the stitching. So if you're going to be using this for something else, you could always do your bind off using a smaller hook, so just go 1 millimeter smaller, and that'll eliminate this extra waviness at the top, because that just means that these stitches are wider than the stitches that we were working on below. So yep, something to remember when you're doing your return pass for your row 1, don't forget those chain 1 between the vertical, what is it? Yeah, the vertical stitch, because what you're going to end up doing is this, what I did here. So you're not going to have that extra stitching, and when I go and block this, I might have a little bit of a difficult time because there's no stretch here whatsoever. So that part of my square might be a little bit narrower than the rest of my fabric. But yeah, there you go.